Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbprou.com.
Good evening and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier. Excited to be back with you once again, talking small business, my favorite topic. As you know, each week we have great guests, and really they share their expertise on specific areas of business that can be beneficial. As you know, your business can only go as far as you're prepared to take it. And you can only take it as far as your leadership skills will allow you to. So that's really why we have Leadership Live at 8:05, to help you further develop your leadership skills and knowledge about business so you can be more successful in what you do. I'm excited about our guest tonight. Myself and Jason Criddle, we had a chance to chat, and we really hit it off, and we're just talking about some things that most people don't talk about, but these are conversations that need to be had in business and can be really helpful to a lot of business owners. So, we may be a little bit tougher on some topics than we usually are. So, hopefully, you have a thick skin. But the intent is for you to learn some things that could really be beneficial and help you be more successful. So Jason's got an extensive background and experience really doing a lot of great things on the business side. So definitely look forward to chatting with them, and I'm going to bring them on real quick so we can get started. Hey Jason, how you doing tonight?
Leadership Live at 8:05. That's one of the catchiest things that I've heard today, man. That's awesome.
Hey, marketing is key. I take my cues from a master. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. So, it proceed, even in death, it's still something that people remember. So
right. I get it, man. Yeah, that goes right up there with a comment that I heard yesterday. I was selling some floor mats from one of my Porsches, and I had a guy come and pick it up, and he couldn't find his way around my complex, and so he's like, give me a call, let me know where you are. And I texted him and I said, are you in the cul-de-sac? And he said, no, I'm in my Porsche. I was like, okay, all right on. And it was pretty funny because from that point, it was, I went and I saw him and I said, this is a cul-de-sac. And he laughed and he's like, man, I'm not wearing my glasses. I couldn't see what you were writing me. And I was like, you drove an hour to get here and you're not wearing your glasses. All right, right on. But hey, man, it's right up there with Leadership Live at 8:05.
Excellent. So, I know you, but my audience doesn't. So what I'd like to do is just really have you take a few minutes and chat a little bit about your journey. where you started from and how you got to where you are and what you're doing now. Sound good?
Yeah, man.
Okay, excellent.
I have 2 kids. I have a son that's almost 3, and I have a daughter that's 14. And one of the things that I really try to be for them is the father that I did not have. And so, like, my entire parenting philosophy just revolves around not, everybody says, oh, I would do everything for my kids. I don't do everything for my kids. I give my children an opportunity to learn as much as I possibly can, and then I support them through it, especially my daughter who's 14. She's a little entrepreneur. She has a book. She has her own social media. She has her own brand that she works on here and there. But even whenever it comes to business, like, our investment firm is worth almost 120 million now. I built it from home while working with, while raising my daughter, while homeschooling her. And one of the things that always comes back is I try my best to be the person that I always wish that I had in my life. And so from a father standpoint, I try my best to be the dad that I always had. From a business standpoint, more than investing in anything, I try to just give advice to people, because a lot of people spend and waste a lot of years trying to find $1 million when they really don't need $1 million. They just need a direction to go. In most cases, most businesses would do really well with $1,000 worth of t-shirts and a really good product. And then going out there and actually taking the time to give that product away, or give their swag away, and then talking to people about that product. So as an investment firm, what I try to do for entrepreneurs is be the investor that I wish that I had on my journey. Because, a lot of people throw around the word scam. And usually whenever someone uses the word scam, what they're really meaning is something costs money. And I think that that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't really understand, is life is not an episode of Shark Tank. So whenever someone is sitting at home on mom's couch and they're watching TV and they come up with some bright, shiny idea, and then they all of a sudden think that they're entitled to someone else's millions of dollars in order to build this thing. Well, that's not only is that not the way the real world works, but it's also this glorified idea of what entrepreneurship is. And that's not what entrepreneurship is. As a matter of fact, I don't think anyone should make it a goal to be an entrepreneur. If anything, entrepreneurship is a path that you should try to get through as fast as you can on your way to becoming a business owner or an investor. So whenever people come to me with companies, not only do I try to be that person for them that I wish that I had, I try to give them the advice that I wish that I had gotten. And that is, get customers, make money, sell your product, exit your business, try to sell it or have some kind of acquisition as fast as possible. Unless your goal is to turn it into some big multi-million-dollar thing or multi-billion-dollar thing. But the reality is most things cannot be a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar thing. Most businesses will only be a product with a very short shelf life. And you want to get through whatever shelf life that product has so that you can collect money to move on to the next business. So that you can collect money from that and move on to the next business. So that hopefully at some point you're able to buy a house, buy a nice car, provide a legacy for your family, put some money away for your children. But entrepreneurship is not a goal, and it should not be treated as one. Whenever someone starts a company and they throw on their business card that they're a CEO, it just makes them look really small, because a CEO is a board appointed position. And so if you're the only person working for yourself, calling yourself a CEO doesn't make your company look bigger. As a matter of fact, what it really does is it shows people how little business experience that you really have. I think that social media and shows like Shark Tank and access to YouTube has led people to really believe that things are a lot easier than they are. So rather than people taking the time to go through the trials and errors and the failures that it would take in order to accomplish something, everyone just tries to pretend to be an expert, and they try to just pop up out of nowhere and make as much money as they find, as fast as they can. But the problem with that is there's no journey. And if there's no journey, there's no wisdom. And if there's no wisdom, then there's nothing to gain. So coming up with some bright, shiny idea on mom's couch and then trying to get $1 million for that, there's nothing valuable about it. I can't remember who said it. It might be Einstein. But Einstein says, rather than trying to become a successful person, try to become a valuable person. And so that's one of the things that I always try to teach people is to build value. Become a valuable person before you become a successful person. Become a successful person before you become a rich person, because you don't get rich because you're successful. You're you don't get, you're not, what is it? You're not successful because you're rich because you're successful. So at the end of the day, I'm just a normal guy that's gone through an extensive journey. If someone were to Google me, they could actually look at 12 years of this career that I've been on, which is crazy to me. It might even be 13 or 14 years now. Sometimes I forget how long I've been in it. But whenever someone does Google me and they see that track record of success that I've built, I'm very proud of that. It's more than just interviews and Forbes articles. It's blood, sweat, and tears that most people are not willing to go through in order to become successful. Because everybody's trying to use the internet and use that magic button to try and become really rich right now. But that's not the way it works in the real world. And I think that I just try to be a reminder of that.
Excellent, excellent. So that's a great opening. You shared a lot of great things, and things that a lot of times people won't say or don't say, whether it's because they don't really know and don't have the experience and wisdom, or sometimes they're leading you down a path that they want you to go down, as opposed to the best path for you. I think one thing that sticks out is entrepreneurship is a journey. It's not really a destination, and there has to be growth and development, and really moving beyond just being an entrepreneur into really being a business owner, into building a sustainable business, and and even exiting your business if that's your goal, to be able to create additional businesses and additional value. So you've been through the journey. Everybody's journey is different, but what would you say the most difficult part of the journey was for you?
The boring parts. The boring parts. That's one of the things about TV. Like whenever we look at social media, when you're looking at people's Instagram and Facebook pages, it's not real at all, like in any way whatsoever. You have a group of people or a person that take 48 pictures in order to show you that best one, and then that best picture that they show you has a bunch of filters on it. They have the perfect background in place. They have the perfect lighting. But then as soon as that picture is done, then most people stop smiling and they go right back to their same old boring mundane life that everybody lives. And that's what life really is. Life is not a series of excitable moments. Life is, for the most part, pretty plain. And I think one of the really hard parts of being an entrepreneur, especially if you're delusional and watching TV and spending a lot of time on social media, seeing someone else's highlights. Well, people are always looking for other highlights. People are always looking for that wow thing to happen. Well, sometimes a wow thing won't happen for an hour or a day or a year and a half. One of the things that really helped me on my journey, I guess my leadership journey, started whenever I started losing weight. I used to weigh 400 pounds. Eventually, I became a personal trainer. I helped hundreds of people lose thousands of pounds. But one of the things that kept me going was those simple those progress pictures. Taking a picture 1 week and then taking a picture the next week, or taking a picture 1 month and taking a picture the next month. And whenever you're going to the gym every day and you're working out and you're eating healthy and you're drinking water and you're going for walks and you're doing everything that you can, and you see yourself in the mirror every time you brush your teeth, you look the same. And sometimes it takes months before someone will pop up out of nowhere and then they'll say, "Hey man, you're looking good. Have you been going to the gym?" And as soon as that thing happens, like, it changes, right? Like, as soon as you get that recognition from a stranger, or as soon as you see July picture to August picture and you're able to actually see the changes, well, that progress that you see, it allows you to start making decisions differently. So what you'll think to yourself is, okay, so I made A, B, and C decisions in order to see this amount of progress. So if I make D, E, and F decisions instead of just A, B, and C, then I'll see more progress faster. A lot of business owners or a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't really have businesses. They have hobbies that usually cost them money, and they don't ever really make any money from it. A business is the exchange of money for a product or service. It's a transaction that's taken place between a customer and a company. And so many entrepreneurs never get to experience that. They print a business card. They call themselves a CEO. They give out 5 or 6 business cards before they give up on that idea, and then they move on to something else. It never had the opportunity to become a business. It's probably just some failed thing that's sitting in a stack of other failed things in a closet. So one of the biggest hurdles that people need to get through on this journey of entrepreneurship is just reality. The reality is our life is not full of highlights. Your company and building your business is not going to be like the fun pictures that you take on social media. So what you need to do is find things to take your time. A lot of people fill their time with busy work. I fill my time with building work. So if I'm not actually doing something right now to work on my business, then I'm doing something to work on content. I'm doing something to write a book. I'm doing something to relieve stress. I'm doing something to add more value to my infrastructure, like building a website, changing some terms and conditions, doing something to fill that time. So that's one of the things that I used to teach clients whenever clients would come to me, because I talk all the time about how I helped a few hundred people lose thousands of pounds, but it took thousands of people to get to those hundreds of people. And the main reason is because just like in weight loss, people get really motivated or really excited about starting some new journey. But then as soon as they find out how much work it's going to take to do it, then they stop doing it. So the only way that you're going to be able to lose weight is the only way that you're going to be able to build a successful brand. And that is consistency. You have to consistently build processes that allow you to be successful. So if somebody wants to scale from now having nothing to $1 million, everybody wants that $1 million, right? Everybody does. So you have to really look at, what is it do I have in place that would allow that to happen? Do I have a website or an app that has my product or service on it? Do I have enough education in place for somebody to make a purchase whenever they come to my website? Do I have enough information for someone to make an educated decision on their own before they buy that product or service? Do I have the ability to process a transaction for that product or service to be made? Whenever that product or service is sold, how is that product or service delivered to the company? If any of these things take your time, then it's not scalable. So the only real way to build that $1 million business is to make sure that from the time someone finds out about your product to the time someone successfully uses your product and is a happy customer, there needs to be almost no human interaction involved. Once there's a human interaction involved in that point, well, then you have the capacity to fail. So that's why I invest in software, man. Software usually gets rid of the human capacity for failure. So get used to the boring parts, man. That's all I can say. Get used to the boring stuff.
But, what you said is like amazing, because it really takes a lot of discipline to do it and really be able to work without seeing results. One of the things I say is, I can help make your business boring, because that's really when your business is successful, because you're spending your time, like you mentioned, working on things that can improve your business all the time, not working on things that are in your business. And so definitely, that's really key. One of my mentors used to always say, you got to pray for patience. Because a lot of it's natural as a human to be impatient, but whatever you do, it generally does not happen overnight, or if it happens overnight, it's not sustainable. So definitely, that's a key piece. Not sure if we talked about my Masterpreneur playbook when we talked, but I think what you're talking about, falls in line with it, and figure just share it and get your thoughts on it and how it matches up with your journey. So, basically, I found there's 5 key steps to creating a scalable business, from going from startup to scaling. And it's really about working on the concept of your business, working in it, working on the future, and then scaling. And you generally have to go through all 5 of those steps in that order if you're going to achieve it, because you're building the base to be able to go to the next level. And scaling, a lot of businesses go out of business because they're moving too fast. But that's only really half of the story and half of what needs to be happening, because you have to successfully transition, traverse the journey, because it can't go any further than you can take it. So you have to go and move from being an entrepreneur to being an employee supervisor to being a manager to being executive to being a CEO. And each of those roles have different responsibilities that you have to evolve and change how you lead and how you manage if you're going to successfully, um, you know, be able to lead your organization to the next step. And so, when you're talking to people or when you see journeys, you talked about where you sort of got stuck, and where most people get stuck is between working in your business and working on your business, because that's sort of when you have to do the boring stuff. You have to set up the processes and procedures. You got to start running your business by the numbers. Um, did you get help? And where did you get help along the journey? And what was the impact of that help?
I want to say that I have never seen those illustrations that you popped up on the screen. But what I can say about those illustrations is just about everybody tries to start at number 5 in both cases. Just about everyone tries to scale their business, but they miss the first 4 steps. And then just about everyone calls themselves a CEO, but they miss the first 4 steps. People call themselves an entrepreneur, but then they call themselves a CEO of their entrepreneurship. Like that sounds so funny. But they missed everything in between. And so that's one of the things, like I'm going to reference Shark Tank again. The reason why I reference Shark Tank so much is because I feel like my life is like an episode of Shark Tank all the time, because people will always get in touch with me on LinkedIn or they send emails or whatever. And they're like, hey, you're an investor, give me money. And then whenever you tell somebody that you're not interested in something, they're like, wait a minute, you said you were an investor. And it's like, that's not how it works, kid. I'm an investor. I'm just not your investor. Like every single time we watch an episode of Shark Tank, people should understand that there is no one in the room fighting to write a check for someone's idea. Every single one of those companies that we see on Shark Tank, they have gone through steps 1 through 4 on the journey of building the business, and they've gone through steps 1 through 4 on the journey of their personal self. So the reason why someone is standing up there saying, I'm a CEO of this company and I need your money, is for the same reason why I stopped being an angel investor. Because, man, you can lose money on people's dreams all the time. Because just like starting a business or trying to get in shape or trying to work on a relationship, as soon as people find out what kind of work it's going to take in order to do that thing, they usually give up on that thing. But whenever we watch that show, what we are seeing is a person or a company or a combination of both who have literally done every single step that it takes in order to build a business, and now they're ready for scaling. So if somebody comes to me and they say, hey, Jason, I need $1 million so that I can try and figure out how to run human resources, and I don't know anything about customer service, and I've never sold anything before, and I'm not a leader. I don't know how to talk to people. I definitely can't sell. I'm more introverted than extroverted. I don't even know how to build my product. Not only do I not know how to build my product, I have no idea how to deliver it. I don't have a website. I don't have an app. I don't have the ability to process any kind of transaction. I don't have a t-shirt to represent my brand. I haven't designed a logo yet, but I want $1 million from you so I can figure all this out. That's not a business, and that cannot be scaled. But what I can do is if someone comes to me and says, Jason, we have this business and we've been in business for 5 years and we have a couple of good products and we have all of this infrastructure in place and we're making $100,000 a month and we're spending $20,000 a month to make that $100,000 a month. How can you help us? Well, then I can do something really simple. I can say, okay, well, what we can do is we can refine processes, because what you're telling me is if I give you $200,000 per month, then you can make $1 million per month with it. Is everybody with me? That's called scaling. So if someone's spending $20,000 per month to make $100,000, and then we can figure out how to make $500,000 using $10,000, all of a sudden that business is scalable. We went from spending a little bit of money to making a lot of money to spending an even smaller amount of money to making more. And all we had to do was refine whatever processes that they had in place in order to build their business to a certain point. So whenever someone says scalability, that's what they're talking about. And one of the things that I do with a lot of companies is, brother, I mean, like, I can't tell you how many companies come to me that are making $1 million a month and they have no idea how they're doing it. They just know they're doing it. So what I do is I go into a company and I identify those processes for them. What liabilities do you have in this company and what assets do you have in this company? And a liability is basically anybody that's in the company that's not a salesperson. So if I show up at your door, then it might not be good for you if you are not an extrovert and ready to learn something new. Because if you're one of those quiet, shy types that work for a company and you just do the bare minimum to get by, then I'm probably going to figure out how to outsource your job to a person that would do it cheaper, or I'm going to figure out how to replace you with a piece of software. Most companies will have 20 people working for them, and that's just a figurative number based on averages of what I see on a regular basis. But of those 20 people that are working for them, 3 of them might be salespeople. So if you have 17 people in a business that are costing you money, and then you have 3 people in the business that are actually making you money, that is a whole lot of pressure on those 3 people, especially knowing that those 3 people are the key reasons why those 17 people have the ability to feed their families. So what I do whenever I come into a business is I figure out which of those 17 are not necessary. I replace them with a process, a piece of software, or an outsourced person. And then anybody who's left that wants to stay within the company, they learn how to become an asset for the company. They become a leader. They become a salesperson. They become a go-to individual that can make that company grow, because most people are just helping the status quo stay consistent. They're not really doing anything to help a company grow. They're just kind of helping the company run. I actually tell people that I was using that term earlier in the week. There's a lot of people that will help you do something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are a helpful person. So in order for you to build your business, you need helpful people. To answer your question, I've always done the most of what I can on my own. And then I do my best to find people that have their own strengths. If you're trying to scale a company, you're always going to need to scale with salespeople. You're always going to need to find extroverted critical thinkers that have the ability to take your information and run with it. And when I mean take your information and run with it, I mean, like, I want to give you a stack of information, and then I want you to come up with ideas on your own about how you can take that information and be successful. And not only do I want you to take that information on your own and go out there and be successful, but if you come up against a failure or a stopping point, I want you to be able to change on your own. I want you to be able to say that sucked and then do something different on your own. So these are the types of people that I look for. If I find people that are just wasting time, if you have to have the same conversation with someone over and over again, if you give somebody information and then that person looks at the information and then they ask you more questions about the information, and then they need to have another meeting about the information, and then they bother people about the information, and then a month goes by and they're still stuck on the basic information, that's not a helpful person. They could probably help you do something, but they're not a helpful person. So I've never really had mentors. I've never really had coaches. I've always figured out how to do things on my own. But then I always try to surround myself with helpful people, people that I can trust, that I can give information to, and then they can give me new ideas or different perspectives that I haven't thought about before. They have the ability to take my information and run with it. And that's how you build a company. Like even now, I'm in the middle of rebuilding my board. And so in this journey of rebuilding my board, I've posted ads on LinkedIn. I've posted ads on Craigslist, on Indeed. I've had tons of interviews with tons of people. Of the 300 or 400 people that I've talked to this year, I'm working with about 8 or 9 of them. A lot of people will come on a Zoom call and they will ask you how much they're going to get paid before they ever even know what you need for them to do. And as soon as you meet somebody like that, run as fast as you can. What you need are people that are just as passionate about what it is that you do, and they volunteer their strengths and their time to help. And if that person's not helping you, just move on, because there will always be another helpful person coming along. So at the end of the day, it's just a numbers game. You're always going to have to play the numbers. You're always going to have to be looking for new people. You're always going to be looking for mentors or looking for salespeople or looking for more people that are going to help you grow. And the most important thing that you can do for yourself, or the most important thing that you make sure you don't do, is don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't meet a person and then put your faith in them. I'm not saying don't put your faith in people. I'm saying don't put your faith in a person. If you're going to put your faith in any one person, then it needs to be yourself. And the only thing above putting faith in yourself is putting faith in God, that you have this magical ability to go on this journey that you're on. And we were talking about that a little bit before the show started. Most people are so involved with today that they don't have the ability to think about tomorrow. The last thing that you need on your team is someone who's in survival mode. If someone is thinking about what can I do today, how much money can I make today, and they don't have the mental capacity to think about tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now, they're not a goal setter. They don't have the ability to see progress. That's a person that will give up before they ever see the progress picture. They won't make it from July to August. They'll make it from July to July 2nd, and then they're off looking for something else that's easier. But that's one of the things about business, is there is no magic opportunity that will help you succeed. What there is becoming really, really good at whatever opportunity you're working on right now. A lot of people are so afraid to fail that they never get the opportunity to suck at something. And you have to suck at something before you get really good at something. I look forward to sucking at new things. I find it very weird whenever people want to find a job exactly like their last job, because I've always been the type of person to not only take advantage of every single opportunity that I possibly could, but I seek out opportunities. I seek out responsibility. I think a lot of people are just so stuck in their ways that they forget that the meaning of life is to grow. The meaning of life is not to do the same thing over and over and over every day. You need to be learning something new. You need to be challenging yourself. That's why I like to work out so hard in the gym, because everybody goes into the gym and they say, oh, I'm going to do this when I get to the gym. And they either don't go to the gym or they go in there and they half-ass everything at the gym. But the reason why I was able to lose 200 pounds, the reason why I was able to help 500 people lose about 10,000 pounds is because we challenged each other every single day. My mantra in fitness was better than yesterday. And if somebody can make that their mantra in business, then they will succeed. You have to be better than you were yesterday. You have to try something new today that you did not try yesterday. You have to meet someone new today that you did not know yesterday. You have to go and take a sales approach or make a pitch that you did not try yesterday. If you do that, then you can be successful at anything that you do in life. But I mean, seriously, how many people actually do that? How many people actually go out there and try to be their best selves at every moment of every day? Not many people. And if you're not trying to be your best self at every moment of every day, well, how we do anything is how we do everything. So if you're the type of person that gets into a business and you give up 2 days or 2 weeks later, I can guarantee you that you're unhappy in your relationships. You're probably not a good mother or father. You're probably not a good husband or wife. You probably drive a crappy car. You probably live in a small place that you're tired of. And you probably blame everybody else for all of the failures that you've gone through in your life. So I think that the biggest mentor that someone should seek out is their best self. Who is the person that I'm going to be 5 years from now? And that's who you should look up to every single day.
Okay. Definitely great answer and then some. But, some of this stuff, like we talked about, is things that people need to know, but most people won't tell you. But, through my experience, everything Jason's talking about is real. And, as a person, you have to evolve. One thing I love about entrepreneurship and having a business is I learn something new every day. I meet new people probably every day, just about. And there's not too many other fields that you really get a chance to do that in the same way as having your own business. So definitely that's key. What I want to do real quick, because I forgot to do this earlier, but I usually run this through the Small Business Pro University, which is basically we help entrepreneurs learn, grow, and profit. And this is one of our Business Brain Trust initiatives, but it's always good to know what the Small Business Pro University is. So I got a short video about the Small Business Pro University. Then I'm going to come back talking to Jason Criddle about the topic today, which is really great. So here's a little bit about what the Small Business Pro University is all about.
Many small businesses experience low or no revenue growth, and the owners are not making enough money. I founded the Small Business Pro University to help business owners break that cycle by empowering them with greater knowledge and enhanced skills to lead their companies more effectively. Over the past 15 years, I've worked one-on-one with more than 1,000 business owners and taught tens of thousands of people about business. My experience includes serving as a Navy officer, graduating from MIT, earning an MBA from NYU, and achieving the CFA designation. Small Business Pro University empowers entrepreneurs like you to run their businesses more professionally and create sustainable enterprises. Small Business Pro University provides access to valuable resources, partnerships, and relationships that will help you to grow revenue, increase profit, and obtain financing faster and easier. Our Masterpreneur initiatives include more than 100 expert-led multimedia courses and training programs with more than 2,500 lessons. The Small Business Pro Network, our private community for entrepreneurs. Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, our weekly live stream and podcast. Advanced Learning Institutes, focused on revenue generation, profit maximization, and capital acquisition. And the Power Breakfast series, in-person events where business owners learn best practices, enjoy great networking, and gain useful knowledge. If you want to sell more and make more, you need to check out Small Business Pro University. Visit our website at www.sbprou.com.
All right, I'm back with Jason Criddle, and we're talking about the business conversations that nobody's having. This is a little bit of tough love, which is important because if you don't get feedback and you don't learn, then how are you going to get better? And you'll keep doing the same things over and over again. So, this is excellent. We do have a question from Roberta, and I think it's a great question because when people talk about investment, they may mean different things. She says she has decades of experience in event sponsorship. As an investor, what is your thought on sponsorship seekers asking sponsors to invest in their events? How do you define invest?
I define investing by using my money to help you scale and grow your business, taking your processes that you already have and growing them. And so if someone were to ask me to be a sponsor of an event, then I'm going to look for the same things in that event that I would look for in your business, which would be, I guess you could say, KPI, your key performance indicators that would help me know what my return would be, because nobody is sponsoring anything unless they're getting something out of it. You also need to realize, like what I was saying earlier, most people who ask for investor dollars, they're really asking for you to give them free money so that you can figure something out. Whenever someone says like, oh, I'll give you 10% of my business in order to give me X amount of money. Well, if your business is worth nothing, then it doesn't matter if you give me 10% of it, 20%, 90%, 99%. If it's not getting customers, if there's no transactions being processed, then it doesn't really matter how much equity you want to give somebody in your business, because there is no value in that business. So if I'm going to sponsor an event, then I'm going to look at, well, how are you going to use my money in order to grow that event? What kind of recognition is my investment firm going to get, or the products that I have inside my investment firm? I do a lot of PR, and a lot of times someone will ask me to be a sponsor to their podcast or their radio show. So whenever I look at, well, if your podcast is about underwater basket weaving, then that doesn't really do a whole lot for Jason Criddle and Associates. But if your podcast is about helping entrepreneurs build content so that they can scale their online presence, well, I have a company or two that could be a sponsor to that show. And not only do I have a company or two that could be a sponsor to that show, that doesn't even require me writing you a check. It would require you using a piece of software to share a referral code with your customers or your audience who would make a purchase of a product or service that would end up turning into revenue for you. So rather than me giving you $1,000, well, I can show you how to use this piece of software to make $10,000 a month worth of revenue for your show. So it really just depends on what is it that I'm going to get in return. And believe me, everybody's all about passion, right? Like everybody's like, investors invest in the team. Investors invest in the people more than they do in the product. No, an investor is investing so that they can get money back. That's what an investor does. Other than that, you're probably a nonprofit organization and you're asking for donations. If I give someone money, then the entire purpose of me giving someone money is so I see a return. That means if I give you some money, I want more money back. And not only do I want more money back, I want to know when I'm going to get it back. I want to know how much I'm going to get it back, or how much I'm going to get back. I might even want to know what you're going to do with my money to get there. So if these are questions that you cannot answer for an investor, then you're not ready for an investor. And I think that that's one of those key differentiators that people get confused about because we live in this Shark Tank era. People think that an idea is worth something, and ideas are not worth anything. Customers are worth something. Customers who are paying for something are worth something. The margins, which is the amount of profit that you make between how much it costs to deliver a product and how much you receive for that product, that little bit of difference, that margin, is what is worth something. And so if you don't have customers, then I'm probably not going to invest in your event. If your event is a meetup that you're doing for the first time where you think you might have 8 to 10 people show up, then I'm probably not going to invest in your event. If your event is organized and it has 1,000 people booked to show up, and you're already sold out of tickets that you've been charging $1,000 or $100 for, and then you have different levels of tickets that go from $10 all the way up to $1,000 for VIP seating, and then you're looking for vendor tables, or you need a bigger venue because you only have a venue for 100 people, but you have 1,000 people that have already bought tickets. That's when you go to an investor and you ask for an investor to sponsor your event. Anything other than that, then you're just asking someone for money to help you figure out something. And that's not what an investor is for. An angel investor might do something like that. But before you even go to an angel investor, there's also this thing that a lot of people forget called the friends and family round. So before you even get to the point to where you ask an angel investor for money, then you need to ask the people around you for money first. So if you're trying to do something to get your business started, then the best people that you can go to first are the people that know you and love you and believe in you. Because as an investor, just like they do on Shark Tank, I want to see that you have exhausted every single option that you have. I want to see that you've maxed out your credit cards. I want to see that you've mortgaged your house. I want to see that you've gone through hell and high water before you ever came to me and asked for a dime. And then if you can prove those things to me, then I would consider writing you a check. But I'm not here to help you figure something out.
Excellent. So, I think when you talked about an investment, a lot of times people don't think of it in the right way and call a lot of different things investments. So, I appreciate how you shared what you shared. But I think one area where people are often asked to invest, and many times it's a bad investment, is in sales and marketing help.
Right.
Because everybody out, there's a lot of people out there, and some are better than others. So, and not only that, your investment, you need to get more back than you invested. And a lot of times you may think, okay, if I get the same amount of sales as what I invested, I succeeded. But usually, I find that it's multiples. You may need 3 or 4 times what you invested to, break even and even possibly make it a good investment. What are your thoughts on that? And, how can people be more successful in choosing the right things, or what are the right questions to ask if you're looking for marketing or sales support?
The very first thing that someone should do is they should go after low-hanging fruit first. Something that you hear a lot in the entrepreneur journey, especially in software, is people will say, well, the first 100 customers you have proves that you have a good product. It doesn't. Because people will go through some shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on this show. People will go through hell to get those first 100 customers. So it doesn't matter if someone's going after 10 customers or 100 customers. Those first customers that you're getting are when you're trying to figure things out. That's usually whenever you're making your sales scripts. It's whenever you're making your marketing material. It takes a lot of trial and error to get to the point to where you can have a frequently asked questions, or where you can make a commercial that would answer the educational information, that would give the educational information that someone would need in order to purchase something. So that first set of customers is not really a key indicator that your business is going to be successful, because you could have, pizza parties in order to do that. You could be begging people, like you could be giving discounts. I mean, there's any number of things that you could be doing in order to get those first customers. And so what I like to see is, if you've gone through the processes that it takes to get those first customers to the point now to where you have a steady stream of customers coming in. That's what it is that I'm looking for. Because whenever any new business starts, if someone is successful enough at going out and getting sales, then they're going to go from making nothing to making something. And there's going to be like this peak. But then somewhere at this peak, there's going to be an inflection point where there's a drop. Like I was saying earlier, in most cases, there's a shelf life to a product. So someone will go out and sell something, and then it just plummets, and then there's no sales. So what I want to see is, I want to see this peak come up, and then I want to see it kind of level off. And then from that point, I want to see steady growth. Even if it's not steady growth, it can be steady decline. It can be a little bit of growth. But what I want to see is something that looks like this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this down here. I want to see something that looks like, okay, we went out and we worked our asses off and we got our first 100 customers, and now we're steadily getting 10 or 20 new customers per month. And now we need help with our sales because, Jason, our product is good enough to where it has steadied off. But what we would like to do is put some more money into those first things that we did that helped us reach that peak. That's how the stock market looks. That's how, Bitcoin or any kind of investment would look. What you want to see is, in a business, is you want to see some growth, and then you want to see more growth, and you want to see growth, and you want to see growth, and you want to see growth. And then you're also going to see that growth over a period of time. So I would rather see steady, consistent, boring ass customers coming in over the course of a year than I want to see this happen in 2 weeks. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that, because if you see this in 2 weeks, then you're going to see that 2 weeks from now. What I want to see is you've exhausted all of your opportunities in order to scale your sales and marketing. You've built the processes that it takes in order for salespeople to be successful. And now you just need salespeople. So I want to see that you have all of these things in place before I put money into it. Because like I said earlier, I'm not here to try and help you figure it out. But the good thing is I've been doing this long enough. I've probably seen 15,000 or so business plans. I'd also like to say that maybe a dozen or two of those companies are still in business. So a lot of people come up with a lot of great ideas, but they very rarely become something sustainable. So I want to see something sustainable. And that's also what I was telling you whenever we first got on the call, is we don't really invest anymore as much as we acquire. So I'm not really looking to give someone money as much anymore as I am to just buy their software and then add it to the things that we already offer our customers. Because in a lot of cases, whenever someone comes to you and they say, hey, I need money to scale, well, it would be a lot easier to just exit that person from the company. And instead of them going through the ebbs and flows over the course of years to try and obtain more customers, well, we already have a customer base. So we just add that product or service to our existing portfolio so that we can provide that stuff to our customers.
Okay. And also, you overnight you make their business more profitable because you get rid of a lot of infrastructure. They don't have to build a lot of infrastructure because you already have it. So that makes a lot of sense. The only thing I don't like about my show is the hour goes really fast when I'm talking to people. Yeah. And we're bumping up against it now. But before you go, I want to make sure that people walk away really understanding and can take away something that they can start utilizing tomorrow to be more successful. So if you could think about 3 key takeaways, because most people can't handle more than 3 things at a time anyways, that would be great. Feel free to take a minute, and then I'll just play a short video about the Masterpreneur Playbook, and then we'll hear from Jason on Talking Small Business.
Most businesses are not growing, could be more profitable, and have cash flow issues due to lack of capital. What if you knew the secret to generating revenue, maximizing profitability, and acquiring capital when you need it?
I'm Andrew Frazier, and I have developed a proven 5-step framework to take you from startup to scaling faster and easier.
I laid it all out in the Masterpreneur Playbook. It's available now in both English and Spanish on Amazon, Audible, and my website, sbpru.com. Get your copy today to start selling more and making more sooner.
All right, I'm back here with Jason Criddle, Talking Small Business. He shared some extremely valuable and powerful knowledge that most people either don't know or won't share with you. Or won't share in a way that you can really take it away, like what Jason's shared. So, Jason, what are 3 things that we should take away from our conversation tonight?
All right, real quick. The ABCs of selling are always build content. Whenever people say always be closing, that's an old way of selling. The way we sell now is by becoming a person that people would trust to buy from. Think about whenever you go to the mall or you go to Walmart and somebody stops you and they get in front of you and they say, buy this thing. Nobody cares about that. And we usually just say whatever we can in order to brush them off. But what we then do whenever we leave the mall or we leave the store is we go home and we look at our favorite content creators and we buy whatever it is that they are selling. So if you want to become a person that has a successful business, you need to be creating content. You need to be writing books. You need to start blogging. You need to do PR. You need to become so interesting that people want to talk to you and hear what you have to say about whatever it is that you do. And it doesn't matter what the topic is, you have to build the content for it. 2, work on processes that can help you grow. And what I mean by process is like, I don't even necessarily mean a sales process. Wake up early in the morning and go to the gym and then make your bed and brush your teeth. Make a schedule for yourself that you can do on a regular basis. Like rather than just trying to get through your day and guessing about everything, allot time in your day where you actually do things and then you do those things in that time frame. So like every single day from 1 to 4, this is a special circumstance. I was talking at night, but every single day from 1 to 4, that's when I take the majority of my calls. It also corresponds with when my toddler son takes his nap. So since I like to spend the majority of my day with my toddler son, then I make sure that I do the majority of my work where I cannot spend time with him in the time that he's asleep. And then the last thing is, stop calling yourself a CEO if you're not a CEO. Like, in all seriousness, call yourself a founder. Call yourself a butt plug. It doesn't matter what you call yourself, but what you don't ever want to do is make someone think that you're smarter than you are. You don't want to make someone think that you are bigger than you are. Because let me tell you something real quick about the way the brain works. If someone tells you something and then you say, I know, and you don't know, well, your brain says, well, I already know. So it stops thinking about it. When we were in school, we literally had to sit down and shut up for 8 hours a day while a teacher talked to us. And they would talk about so much stuff that we would get bored and we would get tired, and sometimes we would fall asleep. But the reason why we were falling asleep is because our brain was learning something new. So because we live in this age of so much information, people think that they know a whole lot more than they do. Take the time to shut up and learn something. If you're talking to somebody that knows more than you, give them the opportunity to teach you something. If someone who knows more than you tells you something that you're doing wrong, thank them for their time and take that thing and do something better with it. Don't get butthurt that you were told that you're doing something wrong, because then if you take an emotional response and you go off and you get angry at that thing, well, now you're dismissing the opportunity to grow. So always look for chances to learn something that you don't know.
Outstanding, outstanding. So ABC, so a new definition of ABC, and thankfully, before the pandemic, I learned that every company needs to be a media company, and as a result of that, creating content, sharing content, and that's one of the things that I've focused on over the past several years, which has been extremely valuable. Processes, consistency. It's important to be consistent, and like you said, just make a little bit of improvement every day. You look up, and it's a lot of improvement. And then finally, understanding who you are. Understanding that there's a lot more to learn, and that it's important to not be afraid to learn, but also make the effort and be willing to learn. So this has been great, Jason. Thanks again for being here. Definitely learned some things, and guests I know have as well. Anything you want to share before we close things out?
I am building a fleet of Porsches for my salespeople. So if somebody wants to come and learn leadership skills and learn how to sell, and if they have that entrepreneurship, like that entrepreneur desire, but they don't necessarily have a business, then don't just align yourself with my company. Align yourself with a company that has something that you can feel passionate about selling for them, and run with it. So if anybody that's watching wants to learn how to make new revenue this year, then find me. Google Jason Criddle. Find me at jasoncriddle.com. You can find me on any kind of social media platform. I'm the real Jason Criddle on any social media platform. I would like to buy you a nice car to drive. A nice car is a physical representation of where you are on your journey to success. And the thing about a nice car is a nice car will close a sale for you before you ever have to open your mouth. So that's what I got for you, man.
Beautiful. Thank you for the offer as well. Thanks for being here. If you can hang out while I close things out, and we'll chat for a bit afterwards.
All right, brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, excellent. So once again, love the conversation with Jason today. This stuff is so important because, understanding what it really takes to be successful as a business owner, and sort of the decisions you need to make, the things you need to do. And understanding what it's really going to take to do them. So definitely greatly appreciate Jason taking the time and to share his expertise tonight with us. As you know, each week we have a great topic and a great guest. Next week, we're going to talk about the secret to successfully buying or selling a business. Definitely there's things that you should be doing if you're thinking about buying a business, as well as if you're thinking about selling a business. And it's generally way more difficult than most people would think. Jason talked about how he's looked at, tens of thousands of business plans, but most of them, didn't really make the cut. So, if you're going to buy a business, you need to know certain things to make sure you're buying the right business and buying it successfully. And if you want to sell your business, you need to know some things that you need to put into place to make your business sellable. So looking forward again to having Richard Parker next week talking about the secret to successfully buying or selling a business. Definitely appreciate your comments. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, we do have the show available after the fact. So if you're checking out after the fact, that's fine too. And, at the end of the day, it's important to always remember that the more that you know, the more successfully your business will grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.